And welcome to our demo stage. With us, we have Capacity. Caroline, the floor is yours.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm Caroline Venezia with Capacity. I'm a strategic account director here and work with our clients in the mortgage industry. So for those of you who are not familiar, Capacity is an AI-powered support automation platform for the mortgage industry. Typically, we're working with our clients in one of two ways, either support automation or for more mature clients moving into process automation. So starting with support automation, we see a huge opportunity for AI to transform the mortgage industry. From a support automation standpoint, what that means for us is level zero support. So whether it's from internal teams that, for most clients, they have underwriting, lock desks, scenario desks, compliance teams who are responding to a lot of repetitive questions over and over again on a day-to-day basis. So we see a huge opportunity for AI to provide self-service options where employees can come in, they're able to conversationally ask questions and get immediate answers through Capacity. The goal of that is we're improving their experience on a day-to-day basis. We're making it easier for them to find information and spend their time doing their day-to-day jobs. The other benefit is a significant reduction in the amount of time those back-end operational teams like scenarios like underwriting spend responding to those repetitive questions over and over again and freeing them up to focus on higher value-add activities. We see the same technology applied from a borrower standpoint. So a lot of those same clients who are leveraging Capacity internally to automate support are also using it externally to automate support for borrowers or even clients that they are servicing. So making Capacity available again as a self-service resource to borrowers, ask questions, get immediate answers, and ideally deflecting a lot of those questions and tickets that are hitting those customer support teams. For clients who work with us support automation, we typically see some of the more mature clients, the clients that have been with us for a while, will move into process automation. So with process automation, Capacity has a workflows platform. We have OCR, we have IDP technology, where we can take some back-end operational processes like loan origination, start to digitize them as a workflow in the Capacity platform, and then start to assign steps in that process to the Capacity bot as opposed to members of your team. And the goal there again is to reduce the amount of repetitive manual work that your team is doing on the back end and free them up to focus on higher value add activities. So what I'll be focusing on for today's conversation is a little bit more on the support automation side. And again, our goal here is really to provide a self-service resource where anyone can go, they can ask questions, they can get immediate answers. So if we think of the traditional support experience, whether it's for employees or for borrowers, what we typically see across most of our clients is if you think of the borrower or the employee here on the left, when they have a question today, maybe they're going in and looking for some information in SharePoint if it's an employee. Maybe they're going in, opening a ticket or sending an email off to a generic inbox. But ultimately, they end up reaching out to some member of a team to get that question answered. So what we're suggesting is let's make Capacity that self-service option, that go-to resource where when somebody has a question, they know the fastest, easiest way to get their answer is through Capacity. They can pull up our bot in Microsoft Teams. You can have a customized web concierge or a chat bot available on any of your intranet sites, on your external sites if it's borrower facing. But the goal is they can chat with Capacity. So when they have a question, they can pull up that interface. They can ask their question conversationally, really replicating that human-to-human experience and be able to get an immediate answer. And what we see when we roll out the platform with our clients is that about 90% of questions get automatically answered through the Capacity interface. So big elimination of those tickets, those emails that are currently hitting those operational teams because people are able to get those instant answers. They're able to get them 24/7, and they're able to move on with their day and get their job done. We also understand that there's always going to be complex scenarios questions. There's going to be requests that truly do require expertise on your team. So we have a help desk built on the back end. And the purpose of this is that we want to provide seamless escalation so that when somebody comes in, they ask a complex scenarios question, for instance, Capacity can intelligently respond and say, hey, it looks like you're going to need to speak to a member of our scenarios desk team. They can go ahead, open a ticket in the Capacity help desk automatically. That will notify the appropriate member of our client team that there's a new question that they can go in, they can read the question that the employee user had and provide a response immediately within there. Once they provide a response, the great thing about this being AI powered is it's self-learning. So the Capacity interface is learning from those responses so that the next time somebody comes in and asks the same or similar question, now Capacity knows how to respond to it. So I thought it'd be helpful to touch on a couple of the more common use cases we see within the mortgage industry. I'll touch on internal use cases as well as external, and then I'll jump in and show some demos of each. So starting with internal, and again, the vast majority of our clients are rolling this out within their organizations for a number of different use cases. Guideline access tends to be a very common use case that we see. So making guideline and GSE information instantly available via chat, so that instead of having to go search through all regs or some other interface, they can go into Capacity, they can ask, are business debts counted in DTI? And through out-of-the-box integrations with all regs or our own GSE search solution, Capacity can go to the appropriate resource, find that information, pull it back instantly in chat. We also see a lot of, again, those back-end operational teams like underwriting, processing, compliance, leverage Capacity to respond to a lot of their common FAQs or the common requests that they get through to their teams. So if someone wants to know, can I increase an appraisal fee if the loan estimate was sent with a lower amount? They don't have to go ask somebody on the team. They can go ask Capacity, get those instant answers to those questions. And we have what we call content packs pre-built within our knowledge base, where users can get a list of all of the commonly asked questions we see across our mortgage clients and be able to instantly train the system on that information. So get our clients up and running very, very quickly. We also have out-of-the-box integrations with LOS systems like Encompass, so that if users want to ask questions on loan status or conditions left on a file, they can leverage Capacity to do that and get instant responses without having to go into the log into the LOS to get those informations. So it's a huge advantage when loan officers are in the field and they need access, quick and easy access to information. Finally, we see a lot of clients, especially within the last year and a half, roll this out across cross-departmental use cases like HR, IT, onboarding, where people can't walk down the hall anymore and ask, what's my PTO balance or how do I access the VPN? Having Capacity be available as that resource where people can go ask those questions, get immediate answers has been a huge advantage. So we're answering thousands of questions a week for our mortgage clients internally, and they're seeing huge reductions in the amount of people they need to staff those back-end operational teams because people are able to get those questions immediately through Capacity. The second examples that I'll show are around external support automation. So how do we improve that borrower experience, get them instant access to information that they need? So we see a lot of clients roll this out on their public-facing websites to respond to prospective borrower questions, to get them the information they need when they're applying for a loan. If somebody looks like they're interested in applying for a loan, we can actually start to capture that information and route that off to the appropriate member of your loan officer team or whoever is going to follow up on that lead. And then we have clients leveraging this both from a servicing standpoint or on TPO correspondent portals, where from a servicing standpoint, if they have a borrower coming in and asking questions around, what's the payment that's due or where do they send their check to, those questions can be instantly automated through Capacity. Similarly, on the TPO side, if it's a wholesale portal, brokers can come in and get their questions answered without having to pick up the phone and call someone to get those questions. So I want to spend more time focusing on the demo portion of this and showing some examples of each of these. So I'll start with a couple quick external examples and then move into internal. So what I've pulled up is a client of ours, Assurance Financial. They're leveraging Capacity both internally and externally. Externally, they have Ask Abby, which is their bot that they've branded for their prospective borrowers. When you go to the Assurance site, Abby pops up. All of this is completely customizable. And so the name of the bot, the welcome message, they actually have a guided welcome message, which we can pre-populate with the most common questions people might be looking for when they come to that site. Or as a user, I can just come in, I can start typing in a question, and it's automatically going to populate with the most common questions it receives. So I can ask, what is the jumbo loan limit? And it's going to come back and provide that instant answer. And that's the interaction that we really want to facilitate. A lot of the research that we've done shows that people don't want to necessarily navigate to site to find information. They want to have that Google-like interaction where they can just ask a question and get an answer. And that's what Capacity facilitates. One other quick example from an external perspective, and this is just a demo mortgage site that we have for demo purposes. But if I go to this Lewis and Clark mortgage, and let's say I want to apply for a mortgage, we can actually conversationally assist in capturing information and capturing lead and contact information from borrowers. So we'll ask if they're willing to provide some information. If they are, we can ask, great, what type of purchase are you looking for? A new home or a refi? Is it single family? All of these are customizable, but we can gather this information and either integrate with lead routing tools that you're already leveraging like Velocify, or use the Capacity platform to route this off to the appropriate member of your team to follow up with. A couple of other examples I want to show today from an internal standpoint, and again, this is where we see the vast majority of our clients roll this out, is for their teams to find access to information they need on a day-to-day basis. If I pull up the Capacity interface, and what I'm showing here is a demo intranet site, so you can make Capacity's bot available on any intranet sites or any HTML-based sites. I can come in as an employee and I could ask, what are our company holidays? And it's going to go into the Capacity knowledge base, find that information, pull it back again instantly. So I'm able to get that information, move on with my day. I could ask more complex questions. So around guidelines, if I want to say the FHA min credit score. In this case, it's going to go and it's going to ask me, is it owner occupied or HUD approved? Is it 1 or 2 to 4 units? It's going to pull back that minimum credit score. It's also, in this case, linked out to our overlay information. So it can open that information for me and provide that full matrix if that's what I'm looking for. So easily accessible guideline information through Capacity. If I want to ask, what is the status of the Johnson loan? Again, this is integrated into Encompass. So it's going to go, it's going to make an API call on my behalf to Encompass, find that information, pull it back directly in chat. And again, we've heard feedback from a lot of our clients that this is something that's incredibly valuable when a loan officer is out in the field and they need access to information. Another quick example of the AllRegs integration. So if I say our business debts counted in DTI, in this case, it's going to leverage the connection to AllRegs. It's going to come back and say, hey, in Fannie, Freddie, FHA, USDA. And again, from feedback from clients, it can take a number of clicks to find information in AllRegs. This eliminates that by linking directly to the section of AllRegs that answers that question for users. A couple other quick examples I'm going to show, and this is the backend interface where clients manage everything related to Capacity. I'll walk through a little overview of this, but if I want to come in and just show a couple quick other examples, such as, maybe I have to do a Maven error code search. So being able to help triage with LOS support questions or other tech issues that users might be having. So coming in and asking for a Maven error code search. In this case, it can ask me which error code I'm receiving. I'm going to select one. And in this case, it's going to come back and say, hey, underwriting will fill out the high price mortgage checklist to satisfy the warning message. It gives me a link to the Encompass Resource Center if I need that. It will ask me, did this resolve your issue? If I say yes, it will enable me to ask additional questions. If I say no, it will give me the opportunity to open a ticket. We can customize these to ensure that we're getting that person off to the right team to help them resolve this issue. So finally, want to touch on just the Capacity Copilot console and where we manage everything related to Capacity. So again, every client will have their own Copilot console where they can manage their Capacity interface. There's a left-hand navigation here, but knowledge base is where we can store any information we want to train the system on. Again, this comes pre-populated with what we call our mortgage content packs, where they're the most common questions we see across underwriting, compliance, lock desk, so that we can give you a base of information that the system is pre-trained on, and you guys can get up and running very, very quickly. There's a help desk component here. And again, this is where we are routing questions that need to be addressed by a member of your team. So if the AI doesn't know a question, we can pull in the appropriate resource. They can come in, they can read the question, they can respond to the user, and the system is learning from that interaction on how to answer that question next time. We also have our App Center in here where we can do the out-of-the-box integrations with Encompass or AllRegs or other systems that you're looking to leverage. And there's a number of other components in here, including analytics to give clients detailed metrics on overall usage, how well the system's performing, and helping you meet your ROI goals and ensuring that we're getting people the right answers to the right questions as the system has been implemented. Happy to address any questions.
Thank you so much for all of that information, Caroline. I guess the first question I would have, and I think is great for our audience, is how quickly can Capacity be deployed?
So typically what we see is about 30 to 45 day implementation period. So we are working with our customer success team, which is a team that will work closely with clients to get them onboarded. But that 30 to 45 day window is typically what we see from an implementation standpoint.
That seems really fast to me, which is really exciting. And what does the onboarding process entail?
Yeah, so once a client has signed, again, we have that customer success team that's going to work closely with them to get them onboarded. The first step in that is a kickoff call where we'll meet with the client team. They'll get introduced to their resources on the capacity team, which is usually an account manager like myself. We'll have a customer success team lead that's going to be helping them as well. And then during that kickoff call, we have about a month long of sessions to get them onboarded. Over the course of that first month, we have weekly meetings, which are working sessions. The first one's focused on getting information into the knowledge base. So training the system on the information that capacity needs to be able to respond to. The second one might be focused on integration. So let's set up those integrations. And then the third one focused on let's train the resources on your end that it might be responding to the questions that the AI doesn't know. So really a 3-week process to get those systems and those trainings done. And then typically we're going through a testing period to make sure we're asking some questions into capacity, that it's responding appropriately. Once everyone is really comfortable that it's matching to the right responses and that we're ready to roll out, that's when we launch to the internal teams or to the external use cases, depending on where clients are going to be implementing this.
Sounds like a really straightforward process. So with AI, I think one of the big questions is, if capacity doesn't know the answer to a question, what happens?
Yeah, that's the great thing about the platform and having that help desk component built on the back end is that, there's always going to be questions that an AI doesn't know the answer to, or maybe we just didn't initially think to train the system on. So when capacity doesn't know the answer, it's able to intelligently respond back to the user. It can offer to open a ticket or even connect someone via live chat, depending on how clients want to implement this. But ultimately, it's going to find an expert on the client side to pull in to answer that question, and then it's learning from that interaction for next time. So over time, you'll see a substantial growth in the knowledge base and a substantial growth in the amount of questions capacity can answer autonomously, as opposed to routing it to a member of your team. So significant decrease in tickets that end up happening or outreaches to the teams to answer questions because capacity is taking on a lot of that work for you.
Sounds like all really great things that capacity is capable of. Thank you so much for sharing that information with us, and everyone should definitely check out Capacity. With that, I will turn everybody back over to our main stage.